How we doing? We're back at Bengals Army. I got Tony with me. We got Jeff, aka the Iceman. How we doing, fellas?
Good, guys. What's going on?
What's going on?
Ready to talk some Bengals, man. Get that bad taste out of our mouths from last week. You know what I mean? Which it was a short week, so that's great. We got the Ravens coming up. Them rat birds. Hopefully we take care of business, man. But before we get into all that, Jeff, you did some pretty cool stuff. I know you and a few of the other guys got to do some cool stuff with Corey Dillon, which is surprising to me that he didn't feel loved too much. And I know his removal from the Bengals was a little up in the air with the shoulder pads and different things he put up in the stands. But man, all I ever knew, which I was a young buck, I was a little kid then, and he was my favorite player. And then we had Chad Johnson stuff, kind of another one of them Bengals legends for my generation at least. What was that like hanging out with him? Because I imagine for you, he was still one of them players that was just like, man, he's the all-time leading rusher, a Bengals legend, and getting to spend time with him and just hang out. What was that like, man?
It was the greatest weekend of my entire life, other than marrying my wife and my kids being born. Yeah, it was unbelievable. And I remember telling him, before, not on the air, we talk off the air sometimes. I said, dude, I said, people are going to love you. He goes, man, he kept telling me, man, I'm not here for it. I'm coming down to hang out with my friends, hang out with you and Chop and Greg and Cap and all these guys. He says, I'm just here to hang out with you guys. He was a little worried about how he was going to be received because of the way he left. And he said on my show before, he threw the helmet up and the shoulder pads up there because he knew he wasn't coming back. He knew he was getting traded. And he just wanted to give it to the fans because he didn't, he was done with it. He just figured that instead of, some other player getting it and they can use it, he just gave it to the fans. So it wasn't a F you to everybody. I'm done with this crap. It's more of, a thank you. You guys can have this stuff, since it's my last game. But him coming here, it changed his complete outlook on how he thought this city felt about him. Yeah, because like everywhere we went, he got so many hugs, so many, shocked and so happy to see him. It was awesome, dude. His girlfriend Arlette started tearing up a couple of times because people were so excited to see him. I took him down to Holy Grail before we walked down to Lot 1 to tailgate, and James Rapine was on the air there, and Chick Lutt was on the air. So I walked straight up to James Rapine. I said, "Hey James," I said, "Did you know Corey Dillon's down?" He goes, "No." I said, "He's right here. You want to meet him?" He goes, "Hey Corey," and then Chick Ludwig, his jaw about hit the floor because Chick Ludwig used to be a beat writer for the Bengals on the Bengals beat for the Dayton Daily News. His jaw hit the ground. He was just like, he was so shocked and so happy to see Corey. He ran down the stairs to the stage and gave him a big old hug, and it was cool. I mean, it was I loved it that people of Cincinnati showed how much they appreciate what Corey Dillon did for this team and this city, because back then, guys, it was him, Willie Anderson, Carl Pickens, and that was about it. We didn't have a whole lot.
Yeah, and what's really cool is his humbleness of being like, man, I don't know how I'm going to be welcomed back, and just kind of that human personality of like, there's a lot of people you get arrogant and big headed and just be like, man, I don't care what these people think, whatever. But his just his ability to be humble and actually care, like, I want to be welcomed back, and kind of nervous to come back and not be welcomed.
He just says he's just Corey, and honestly, that's in the. So I told him sometimes. I told Arletta's girlfriend this. I said, he doesn't know he's Corey Dillon. I mean, he's been retired for 20 years now. He has a quiet life in California, and he can go about his business, and nobody really knows who he is. It's a little different when he comes back to Cincinnati. But yeah, he always says he's, man, I'm just Corey, and that's exactly how he is. He's just Corey. He goes, I just happen to play football, and there's not an ounce of arrogance, big-headed, anything as far as his personality goes. Now, as far as what he did on the field, yeah, he goes, yeah, I did a couple things, which he is. He's one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. They should be in the Ring of Honor and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is ridiculous he's not in either one of them. We're going to fix that. We're going to get him in the Ring of Honor this year.
Yes, sir. We got game in there, man, because I think being a good person in general, that carries so much weight for me, like, but also just that childhood memory, that feeling that it was like, man, and I text Corey, this was a while ago, when he first made the statements about the Ring of Honor stuff, and I sent him a message, and I was just like, man, you're going to be in the Ring of Honor, dude. You're going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, you deserve it. Bengals fans love you. I've had so much fun as a kid watching you. And he commented back, and he's like, thanks, dude. Or he said thank you or something like that. And I was like, damn, like this dude.
Yeah, he'll message him on Instagram. He'll message you back. He definitely will. And the thing is, people kind of get it twisted of how they said he was upset that he wasn't in the Ring of Honor. He's more just irritated, like all of us, that it took so daggone long. They should have done this back in 2000 when the stadium opened up. Corey should already be in there. If we had a Ring of Honor from 2000 till now, yeah, hell yeah, Corey would have already been in there. So that's more of, it's not that he's irritated that he's not in there. It's just irritated of the situation of that him and these other guys, that they're not in there because we didn't have it. That's kind of more of the irritation that he had, that what took so long, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I feel that. 'Cause I'll ask you guys. So the Ring of Honor, we've done 2 players, right? Mm-hmm. I always thought like the first couple years we should have done like 3 to 5, just the first couple years, and then reduced it down. Now, Tony, we'll start with you. Do you think like a 3 to 5 range for maybe the first 3 years and get these guys in pretty quick, and then reduce it down to like 2 players, and then just keep it at that? Because we have a lot of great players through the years that deserve to be in there. And then when you wait it out, you get these Ken Riley situations that nobody wants to see. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, to Ice's point, like, it's crazy that we didn't have this sooner, because you go into a game, you go into the stadium, like, they're all about their history. I mean, it's evident from day one. You go into the stadium, you see the highlights. I mean, they bleed history, and you can just tell in Cincinnati they're prideful of that. And us fans, like, we love that stuff. But I mean, I guess you could go a couple ways. I like it being more consistent. Now, starting off, I think they could have brought the heavy hitters in right away. I mean, Boomer, a bunch of the other guys, they could have brought in all the ones that we know right off the bat. Ken Riley, for example, that we know should be in the Ring of Honor, right? But, I mean, to do it consistently every year, you know how many people are getting in. And, I mean, they're putting their names up in the stadium, right? Unfortunately, we only got so much real estate there at Paycor. It is what it is, man. I'm thankful that they're just doing it. I'm not going to really get into the particulars of how many people we should or shouldn't have. I think in time we'll see a lot of those guys we expected to be there up on that up in the stadium, have their names up there. So I'm not too worried about it. Ice, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Dusty. I wish they do at least 4, because the thing I'm concerned about is what happened to Ken Riley. He's not here to see himself go into the Ring of Honor, see himself go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And a lot of these guys like Lamar Parrish, who I think should be in, James Brooks, who I think should be in, Pete Johnson, you got Jim Breach. I mean, all these guys, Corey Dillon, all these guys that should be in our Ring of Honor. Huh?
Sorry, I'll say Willie, but to get him into the Hall of Fame as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Willie's already in, but it's more of the guys that most likely won't get into the Hall of Fame. You can say what you want about Chad Johnson. I think Chad Johnson is so close, but the wide receiver is so hard to get into the Hall of Fame. I think if Chad would play a couple more years, he would guide it. But my point is, I think they should at least do it 4 guys now. So, because the thing is, I do 2 guys a year. We're still not going to get everybody that should be in there before Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, the guys we got now are going to retire. We're still going to be trying to get guys in like Tim Cumry and all these guys, Dave Lapham, all these guys from back in the 70s and 80s. There's still going to be guys there. So that's where I'm like, we have plenty of guys. You can do 4 for probably the next 7 to 8 years. And then, all right, we're going to slow it down. Let's get it back to 2. Because that's my concern is we're going to have too much of a roadblock here. We got too many guys, and we got more guys eventually that are going to come down, like TJ Husmanzada. You can put him in there. I mean, say what you want about Andy Dalton, but there's a chance that I think he could be in there eventually because, look, he went to 5 straight playoffs until Joe Burrow breaks them all. He had like almost all the passing records. I mean, that's another one. Now the people are going to bang on me like, he doesn't deserve to be in. But, I mean, if you look at his record for the 5 years he was here, that's Ring of Honor worthy. Either way, you can come at me on Twitter about that later. But that's the thing is like there's too many guys that we got to get in. That's the problem, I think, right now because we waited so long to freaking do it. You got to at least have 4 in right now, I think.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Obviously, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but just hitting with Corey Dillon in just kind of the childhood memories of him. And, I mean, I lived in Central Ohio, so, like, everybody was Browns fans, Steelers fans. I mean, just putting them words in my mouth sounds dirty. I don't even like saying their names, but like, just, dude, constantly as a kid, like, dude, why you like the Bengals? Well, I grew up in a Bengals household, so I guess I like them, And I had an uncle that was a Steelers fan, and I remember just certain family events, and they'd be playing, just hearing that chatter. It's like, man, whatever, it is what it is. But I stuck through that, and that makes these times so much better. I've said it over and over. It makes these good times just so much better. But I can remember telling people like, dude, you guys only got Corey Dillon. I mean, they had Jerome Bettis, and they had the Ravens had
Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis. And those guys were some dogs, but like Corey Dillon was just different, man. On that, he just carried the team. It was so different the way he played, and the weapons on the team, maybe just you knew they were feeding him. You knew what was going to happen. You can't stop CD, bud. Like, so it was just that was always my comeback, dude. You don't have a Corey Dillon, you don't have 2-8.
Well, the thing is too, if you look at Jerome Bettis' numbers to Corey Dillon's numbers, which I've put this out, I did a Twitter thing on it, and I did a video on it. They're the same. Corey's actually better in a couple categories. Jerome's already in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and people say, well, he was on losing teams. Okay, Earl Campbell was on losing teams in Houston. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, if you're on a team, like you just said, that Corey's getting the ball, I know Corey's getting the ball, and you still can't stop him, and he set 2 NFL rushing records, to me, that boost his resume even more of how great he was.
It's about that ring, though. Yeah.
Well, he got it, though. He got it in New England. You can't even say that. He got the ring, so you can't say that. There's nothing on there on his resume that you say, well, he didn't do this, well, he did that. He did everything. There is nothing on there you can say that he didn't do that should not put him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's on there.
Yeah. Between him and Willie, like I don't get it, man. I don't get why those dudes ain't in there.
Why did Thomas get in? Why did Joe Thomas get in last year before Willie Anderson?
Yeah,
I know he's a left tackle. Who gives a crap? I mean, he played on worse teams. That Willie played on better teams than Joe Thomas did.
When you have what was that dude, the edge rusher? He's on Sunday Football all the time. He played for the Giants, but he basically Michael Strahan, yeah. So he put a thing out. He's like, dude, Willie, he deserves to be in. He was the best right tackle. Like, and you have this dude who's in the Hall of Fame, who's got this resume saying he is the best right tackle I've played against. Why is this guy not in here? And you got players like him at that pedigree rooting for this dude. It just that don't make sense to me, man. It really irritates me.
I hate the concept at all because he played for the Bengals. What the hell has that got to do with anything? Who cares? Yeah. I mean, that we got 2 guys in now. We've had Hall of Fame players. Ken Anderson should already be in there. He was the NFL passing record in 2 different decades, in the 70s, back-to-back years of the 70s, and back-to-back years in the 80s. And he went to the Super Bowl. Dan Fouts never went to a Super Bowl, is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dan Marino never went to a Super Bowl, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Why isn't Ken Anderson in there? He went to it. Yeah, he lost it. But at least he went there. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's like, dude, I go off on all this stuff. It drives me freaking insane. I'm like,
we're going to church right now.
it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I've had these arguments lots of times, and every time I come back to this, like, their final answers, we put for the Bengals. What the hell's that got to do with anything? Like, they're still an NFL team. Like, and they're still NFL players, and they played against NFL players. They played against Hall of Famers. They beat them.
Yeah. When you walk these dudes down as Willie, walking down these Hall of Famers on the right side, Then you have Corey. You know the ball's going to him, and you just get the NFL rushing record for a game, and then his numbers speak for itself in total. And then he gets the ring. Like I don't understand it.
The thing is, too, he's also the single season rushing leader for the New England Patriots as well. So not only is the greatest running back in Bengals history, he's also the greatest running back in New England Patriots history. That's two, and he's got a ring. So there's no reason Corey Dillon should not be in the Hall of Fame. There's none. No, you can't think of one.
Somebody make it make sense, man.
They can't. There isn't any. There's no argument that he shouldn't be in there. There's no argument that Willie shouldn't be there. There's no argument that Ken shouldn't be there, other than they play for the Bengals, which is a stupid ass argument. That's not a reason.
Yeah.
So I know I don't want to get off this topic with arguing about why they're not in there, because we're all in the same boat.
Right.
We can have this argument and push this out to the world every day, because I want to see these dudes get in there.
Absolutely.
But Corey, you and Pork Chop guy go out with him. You guys went to a comedy show, right?
Yeah. Harrison, the comedian, he hit me up. That's Saturday morning, and said, "Hey, I got a comedy show here in Dayton, Kentucky." He said, "Would you guys want to come?" I said, "I don't know." I asked him, so I asked Corey and Arlette. I said, "Would you guys want to go to this comedy club?" Like, "Yeah, sure." So we went to it, and it was an absolute freaking blast. It was in an old church, so they were having all kinds of how should I put this? Not stuff you wouldn't say in church. They were saying it in this church building, and it was funny as hell.
Yeah, dude. That when I listened to you guys talk about it, I was just like, man, that's funny as hell. Like going down a single, like the road was super tight and didn't realize where it was.
I'm like, we're Ubering there, and Pork Chop. I didn't know it was at a church. And Pork Chop calls me. He goes, "This is at a church." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Really?" Like, all right. So we go down this little ass road, and Uber driver drops us off. I'm going, "I guess this is it." I don't know. So we walk in. I'm like, they're like, "Hey, you got a table for Corey Dillon?" "Yeah, come on in." I'm like, "All right, that's it, guys." So we went in, and Pork Chop's in there. Goes, "Where the hell you been at?" I'm like, "Well, we're late." Come. So we got there, and Corey told
CD he wanted to sit in the back, didn't he? Yeah. He didn't want to be messed with or nothing.
Oh, they messed with him. Yeah, well, Chop told him to mess with him. So yeah, they messed with him. They picked on him and me. And I got what do they say? Strawberry Ice sounded like a stripper name. So they said about me.
What's that going on you?
They're like, "That's stripper name." I'm like, maybe how much money you got?
Yeah, I'll do what I gotta do, bud. I mean, that's just awesome, dude. Like, honestly, to think of like Corey just coming out and hanging out with fans. Like, I know, like you and Chop and all you guys, like you live in Cincy, so you get to hang around the team a good bit and do different events and kind of meet the players and different things.
But we got paid to do that.
Yeah,
like, Corey, we didn't. He just showed up to hang out with us, and that was what was so funny, dude. Like he was walking. He's literally was. I met him at him and his girlfriend at their hotel. We literally were walking around the banks and walking to the tailgate, and people were literally blowing me up on my phone, going, "Hey, I don't mean to bother you, but could you please, get me close to Corey?" I'm like, "Yeah, come down to lot 1. He's going to be sitting right next to me somewhere." Like, I told one of them, I said, "This ain't no velvet rope or anything. We're not charging anything. Just go up and say hi to him." And he was. We were walking out of the game, and somebody walked up and said, "Are you Corey Dillon?" He goes, "I've been known to be that guy." That's what he always said. And then these other kids standing there next to her, and they tap me and they go, "That's not really Corey Dillon." I said, "Yeah, that's really Corey Dillon." "No, it's not." I'm like, "Yes, this is really Corey Dillon right here." And I said, "Corey, say hi." He's like, "Hi." He's like, "Holy shit, that's Corey Dillon." I'm like, "I just told you that." I'm like, that's the thing. He's just walking around with us like he's just Corey. And that's the thing. It's like, most of these guys come in, they go up in the suite and hang out there, and then they go out their own private, tunnel or whatever, and we don't get to see him. Corey was just walking around.
He was at the Bills game, right?
Yeah, it's at the Bills game. Like, Corey.
Yeah. So it was funny. We were in lot 1 for it, and they were like, "Hey, Corey Dillon's down there," and we're like, "Huh?" And we missed him by like 10.
Bro.
I was with all of them. Yeah. We were in lot 1 up on the hill, just having a good time. And he goes, "Hey, I think Corey Dillon's here." And I go, "Let's go see him." And they said we missed him by like about 10 minutes up at the I forget the bomb squad.
And
And
we were over by the bomb squad.
Yeah, we were at the bomb squad.
Yeah. We took me and Cap took him in early because we were hoping, and Cap was hoping that he get to see Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon, we got him in the front row, and Joe Mixon saw him because we got there, and me and Cap were going, Joe. We're like pointing. He's just throwing the ball to the fans like he always does. Has his headphones on. All of a sudden, he looks, and he takes his headphones off. Hey, and he walks right over to Corey and shakes his hand and throws him the football, and Corey throws it back and stuff. And then Jeff Hobson came in, found out he was there, and Jeff Hobson like takes his hat off and kneels down to Corey, and Corey's like, stop. And then I DM'd Jeremy Rao from Fox 19. I said, hey, Corey Dillon's over here. And like 2 seconds later, Jeremy Rao's over to talking to him. So yeah, it was a blur, but it was an absolute blast. It was so much fun,
dude. So that what's so cool is I watched your guys' video where you're like walking down through, and there was like a lady or something that like turned and looked, and she was like, "Oh God, God, that's
holy shit, that's Corey Dillon." Yeah, that was him.
Dude, he just seemed. I mean, he couldn't. They always say, "Don't meet your heroes," right? Mm-hmm. And so
you want to meet Corey. You'll be fine if you meet Corey.
Exactly, and he just was like one of those dudes that just took that stigma away, and which is great because we have Corey Dillon, we got Chad Johnson who does a lot of great things too, and that's the Bengals community. We might not have won Super Bowls, we might not have won these a lot of games during certain periods of time, but man, we got good dudes. It seems like we got real humble guys and people that care, and just the fact that Corey's like worried about what the fans would think, and he shows there, and you said it multiple times. I've heard you on your shows and on Bengals and Brews and different things saying, he was worried about how the fans would take him. And that just shows, he cares, man. He really does care.
Yeah. I mean, he knows things didn't end great. I mean, he played here for 7 years, and let's be honest, they were 7 rough years. They were rough years for the Bengals. I mean, and fans, I mean, we all wanted to freaking win. When you're best player, and that's one thing I give Corey credit for. He's your best offensive player, and the dude never mailed it in, ever, never mailed one single game in. And to me, I give him credit. That's to his character because, dude, there's some days he's like, man, and he's never told me this, but I'm sitting there thinking, he's going to like, man, we ain't got a shot in hell to win this game, but I'm gonna go out here and bust my ass anyway, and he still does it. That's just. People have a hard time going to work every day. We have jobs we hate. He's an NFL football player. Why would he hate that job? Well, because you don't win. You play this game to win, and when you're not winning a lot, sometimes you get to the point where you're like, F it. I don't care. And Corey never did. There's not one game where he mailed it in.
Bro, I get competitive in Uno. I get competitive. I get competitive in beer pong and freaking.
I said Uno first. Shut up.
Like, dude, I can only imagine to get to that level and be this dude. And like I said, I'll say it over and over. Corey's run the ball. Where this team's going through, and for him to do what he did, he was unstoppable. It was just. It was an amazing thing, and it made Bengals football fun, just like Chad Johnson. He made Bengals football fun. But just the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame, man, I won't ever stop preaching it. And I loved so much. Like, I don't know who it was. I don't know how he reached out to the Bengals community. I don't know if it was you that reached out to him or like who and how, but I can remember him doing a podcast. And I think it was you that you did the podcast with, and he talked about how he left, and he just thinks he should be in the Hall of Fame, and he wants to get his flowers before he's in the ground, basically.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he's probably said it on multiple shows, but I know he said it on my show. Yeah, and that's kind of what I said. Is same thing with the Ring of Honor. These guys actually want to be here and enjoy this with their families when this moment happens for them,
and they should want that,
right? I mean, who wouldn't? If you get in the Ring of Honor, you get in the Hall of Fame, you actually want to physically be here. You don't want to be like Ken Riley and unfortunately not be here. I'm sure Kenny II would. I know actually for a fact I've talked to him that it would have loved to have his dad up there giving that speech instead of him. That's the way it should have been. And it's a travesty that the guy who's still all time, he's 5th all time in interceptions. It took this long to get in the NFL Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous. It took this long.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It really is. It's odd and it's weird because the Bengals, we had our dark age, but we had a really good time before my time, but we had a solid period where we were good competitive team. And then, even through 2003, I would say, like, we started competing again. We started really making pushes. And then 2005 or 2010, 2015, like, yeah, we didn't take that next step, but we were still there. Like, we had our dark age, and that's fine and all. But Bengals fans have been loyal and been solid. Our players, we've always had these players there. So it really doesn't make sense. There's something weird going on with it. And
it's just irritating. It's just the bias against the Bengals for some reason. And I don't know why. I 80s was a good decade. 70s. I mean, if in the 70s, if they actually had as many playoff teams as they have now, the Bengals would have made the playoffs multiple times. And who knows, the Steelers might have not won 4 Super Bowls, because maybe the Bengals would have beat them. But I think back, they didn't have the wild card. It was just the division champs. So you had to win your division to get in. It's kind of like how baseball was forever.
Yeah. So we've talked for a hot minute. I know you don't want to stay on too long, Jeff, but you got a few minutes where we can talk about maybe this last game against Houston, then a few minutes into the Ravens.
I got a couple more. Yeah, go ahead.
A couple more. So you were at the Houston game, right?
Yep.
Did you leave before the Cam Taylor Britt? You were sitting there?
Nope. So I don't leave. I don't leave, and I don't boo them.
Yeah. Well, I respect that because there ain't no way. Like, that's for me. That's my like. I might be mad, whatever. If I'm at home, I might sit there and I might cuss and act crazy.
I'll
or whatever.
get upset. Yeah, but I'm not gonna boo them.
Yeah.
There's things I'm like, why is this guy wide freaking open 25 times? It's irritating,
dude. So what did it look like? So watching on TV, I had work. I've had work. I've been wanting to get to the game. I know Tony was at the Bills game. I was trying to get to the Bills game, but my schedule comes out pretty early, and I didn't put leave in early enough to get there, which was unfortunate for me. But it is what it is. But it seemed like they ran similar routes. It seemed like C.J. Stroud just kept rolling out, and then he just found Noah Brown.
He kept rolling out. Noah Brown kept finding the soft part in the zone, and we didn't break off and cover them. I mean, they did it over and over and over and over again. It was mind-numbingly irritating. You could just see he'd roll out, and the guy just stand there going, "Hey, I'm here," and throw the ball. And it did it way too many times.
On TV, it looked. Yeah, on TV, you couldn't exactly see the routes, and you couldn't see until the ball was thrown. You know how the camera merges over, so it was kind of like, what is going on? Is there anybody on him? Are they running like?
No, it wasn't. It was more like a scramble drill. There wasn't. We got pressure on him, and he'd roll out, and then we'd stay in our zone, and he'd just go find a soft part of the zone where nobody's at, and then nobody went and covered him, and then he just throw the ball. Like, we should have broke off and started playing man to man or something.
It was. I mean, it was crazy to me, man. Like just the amount of times that it happened. With Lou, I'm sure everybody in the stadium thought that, like, okay, Lou's going to get this right. We're going to do something here, and it just didn't happen. Like, it just nobody covered him. I don't know.
Lou never changed. Lou never got out of the zone, and that's Lou never did anything different. What's up, Darth? I thought Lou should have got probably should have started going to man or doing something different, which usually when people figure stuff out on Lou, he changes, and he didn't. That was a surprising thing to me.
Yeah. Was you more surprised about Noah Brown or the rushing? Because the rushing yards, I thought they would sling it, but Jeezy Peace, dude. I don't know. What about you, Tony?
I mean, the Noah Brown thing doesn't surprise me as much because C.J. Stroud is a known passer that running from Singletary was mind-numbing at times. I mean, watching it on TV, especially a defense that bends don't breaks, and especially Lou doing all the adjustments that he does, man. I mean, it was just mind-numbing to see that. And I know there was a lot of missed tackles. I saw a couple guys, I won't name drop, but I think there was a couple guys that I probably wasn't as happy with the performance, and maybe they should have made a change there. But I mean, Ice, to your point,
Nick
like
Scott.
he never. Okay, I'll say it, Nick Scott.
Yeah.
Listen, if you saw the earlier podcast, man, I was calling for Jordan Battle a long time ago. But between him and then that passing attack, and they never switched out of zone, it was just mind-numbing. And it constantly looked at least on TV, man, it looked like they were just running deep overs, crossing routes in between the safeties and the linebackers constantly. And they just couldn't get home.
Yeah, the running attack shocked the hell out of me. Because I'm like, all right, well, they're not a very good running team. That's what I kept saying all week. They're not a very good running team. We just got to watch the pass. And I thought our offensive line coming off the 49ers game, or should be Sucky Niners game, that's what I call them, and the Bills game, offensive line played great. I'm like, I think this is going to be a good Joe Mixon game. I thought we would run the ball more against them. And I thought our offensive line would dominate them more. So it surprised me of how much they ran on us and how much pressure they got on Joe. So that's where the game was lost for me, in the trenches. We couldn't get pressure on CJ Stroud. If we did, he rolled out and threw it out, and they ran the ball like we were standing still. I mean, I hate to say it, but it was one of Alex Kappa's worst games this year. Mm-hmm. He even said it, but he had an awful game.
He graded out as the worst. He graded out as the worst. Yep.
Orlando Brown Jr. didn't have a great game either. Like he did bad, but.
None of the offensive linemen had a good game. They all stunk that game for some reason.
Jeff, we appreciate you having on, man. If you got any closing thoughts, I don't want to cut you off, but I know you said you had about 20 minutes, and we're getting kind of deep in there, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad. Thanks for having me on. I got to go to work at like 4 a.m., so I want to go over there and chill out for a little before I have to go to bed. So, but yeah. Make sure you guys follow these guys, Bengals Army. They do a great job. They're two awesome dudes. Make sure you guys are not following the show. You should definitely follow it. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on YouTube every day, Monday through Friday at 5:30. It's called Sports with Strawberry Ice. I would not be doing a show tomorrow because the Bengals are on, and I might be doing something on ZTV with Joey Carr on there. So if you're watching, Joey, what's up? But yeah, I'll be back on Friday on my show. That guy, Corey Dillon, will be back on with me, and we're going to recap the win that we're going to get tomorrow night. We're going to win. Not sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to freaking win.
Speak it into existence.
Put it out there.
Yeah, speak it into existence, because if we lose, then you're going to kiss the division goodbye, I think. But we're not going to have to worry about it. We're going to win. Anyway, appreciate you guys having me on. And Who day, bud. Thanks for coming on again. Appreciate you, dog. See you guys. All righty. That's our boy Strawberry Ice. Super cool dude. Got a great show. I'm sure if you guys are watching us, you're watching him. It was pretty cool getting to chat with him and see his experience with Corey Dillon. That was cool. I don't know about you, Tony, but old CD, that was kind of our time frame, is this kind of middle of the pack group of kids, where it's like some of these dudes seen the older Bengals where they did good and then went through the dark ages and then had these kind of bright spots, and then we're kind of, I don't know, we're kind of this weird mixture. But it was cool hearing from him.
Yeah, man, it was super cool. And I remember, it's funny that he mentioned Corey Dillon, because I was like, yeah, I was at the game and they said Corey Dillon was there, and there was rumors around it, and we missed him. But no, he sounds like a super cool dude. And to your point, man, like, we've been through a couple like different eras in Bengals football. Like, I remember those really dark times in the early 2000s, even coming out of the 90s. Like, that's when I kind of started watching them as a young kid. I remember seeing those days, and I was like, I know they're going to lose. It sucks, but you still got to support them. It makes these times sweeter, even though we're kind of I'd call it a mini slump right now in the season. This is going to be a tough stretch, but it's just, it makes the good times now, the winning seasons, that much better. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, it makes the bad times make the good times a little sweeter. You know, like, yeah, you might eat some crappy food for a little while. We're both army dudes, and we
we've ate our fair share of food that maybe wasn't the best, and then we got some good food and maybe some good cakes and desserts and different things. We're like, all right, this ain't too bad, and that's kind of what this is like. It's like, man, we seen the bad times because we wasn't around for the really good times. We wasn't there for the Super Bowl era. We wasn't there for the playoffs. Like we in our lifetime, we didn't see the playoffs. At least I know you're a year younger than me, so we didn't see it until a couple of years ago. So that was our first time seeing it. So that makes these times a lot better, man. Let's get into. So we kind of hit on last week's Houston game.
Let's go into this week. Let's talk about this week. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm ready to move on from that. Yeah, I'm not gonna get. I let my emotions get a little high, but I'm on to the next game. I'm gonna forgive and forget. Let's roll into tomorrow's Thursday night game at Ravens. Thursday night football on Prime. What you got?
I was muted. So, yeah, dude, I think it's going to be a tough battle. So I didn't exactly like – I wouldn't say I didn't like the schedule, but I didn't like this stretch, this middle of the season stretch that we have. And nobody really knew what Houston was going to be. I don't think anybody thought Houston was going to be as good as they are. And I think Houston is a good team. I really do think they're good.
They are a good team. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive coach, and he brought the same defensive scheme over to the Texans that he brought from the Niners.
Yeah. So that was a good team. It was a good test. We would have liked to get that win. Didn't happen. Right. So this game right here, I don't think this is a season ending. There's Bengals fans that are like, everything's ending. It's a big game. I wouldn't say if we lose, it's not season ending.
It's not statistically season ending, but I'll challenge you with the division. I agree with Ice. The division is totally lost if you don't win tomorrow. You have to win tomorrow to preserve any chance of the division. I mean, me personally, I've kind of given up on the division, but at the same time, okay, so the Super Bowl year when we started 5-4, right? The Ravens weren't as good of a team. This division wasn't as good as it is now through this part of the season. So they had the benefit of the doubt. And I think last week you could have gained a game, right, against the Texans where you were right there with everybody else and kept pace. Then this could have been a turning point game. It's not anymore. It's to stay alive for a home playoff game, should you even be able to get there. They have the toughest schedule statistically in the NFL the rest of the season. I don't like that comparison that we've been here before anymore, because honestly, they've been here before on paper, but they haven't actually been here in this situation with this team on Thursday night, and they've got to get a win on a short week. The season's not lost if they lose tomorrow, but I think statistically speaking, at 5-5, there's a very low percentage chance that you're going to get a playoff spot at 5-5. I don't see it if they don't win tomorrow.
Yeah. So I somewhat agree. I somewhat disagree. The AFC North is so difficult that we just beat ourselves up. Like when you got guys like the Chiefs playing and they got this cupcake division, they go in. I mean, they lost against the Broncos, which whatever. But
it's still a cake schedule, man.
Yeah, you have these schedules. Like we have a very tough schedule. I think we're top 3. We have like a top 3 difficulty in our schedule. So that just makes things so much different and so much harder. So it makes it hard to get that. What all of us Bengals fans wanted was to get that first round bye. We wanted to get first round bye and then get home field advantage, and then boom, another game we're in the Super Bowl. But the AFC North, we're not no joke. And somehow I have no freaking clue how, but Pittsburgh, they keep winning. And that's frustrating.
It's a favorable schedule they have. They have outside the division. They have a very favorable schedule.
Yes, yes. Their schedule is not super difficult. But the AFC in general is strong. So I don't think if we lose and we get to 5-5, it's impossible. I think we can right the ship. I think the game's very important. I think it's amazing that Trey Hendrickson is going to be playing. Like, I don't know if you saw that, but reports are Trey's going to play. And this dude, man, is just I love Trey. I love everything about him. I love his no nonsense. Like, he doesn't want to do anything with the reporters. He wants to play football. He wants to grind. He wants to work. He doesn't care if he's hurt, beat up. He's going out there and playing. And that's amazing to me. Like, that roll up, and you're in the group chat. It was on my Twitter where one of our buddies said something about him, and I don't even want to put it out there. And he said something about the injury, and I was like, dude, don't even say that. Like, don't put it out there until it's reported. And then, best case scenario, he's back, and he is, which is amazing.
He's going to be limited. I mean, a hyperextended knee is no joke. I've been there with that. Like, he's going to be limited. It's just a pain tolerance thing, right? Trey's built. I think he's going to be good. They're going to need him because this is a full strength Ravens team. We're not playing the same Ravens we played several weeks ago. And I mean, look at it, man. Like, I could look at this thing, the glass half full. Over the last 5, we're 4-1, right? That's a damn good stretch in the NFL, especially against some of the quality teams we played. But at the same time, they started 1-3 and dug themselves a big hole with 2 division losses. So it is what it is. They need a win tomorrow, though, man. I don't care if it's by 1 point. You don't get style points in the NFL. Style points are for ESPN. Nobody gives a crap about that. But when it comes to, yeah, he is. He is the Terminator, man. He really is. Shout out. But I don't know. I still think, man, like, I don't think they have a choice but to win. There's no pressure on the Ravens to win this game. There's all the pressure on Cincy to win this game.
Yeah. Well, I think there is a little pressure on them because they lost to the Browns at home. Now,
there's a lot of pressure because they've already lost to the Ravens.
Yeah, well, to us, yes, there's plenty of pressure for us, but still, like, back-to-back losses, man, I think that's not it. They're a hungry team. Like, if we're the Bengals, we are the Bengals, right? We play on Sunday and we lose to the Browns, and the Ravens come to our house on Thursday Night Football. We're not losing. You know, like,
no, it's at Baltimore. It's at Baltimore.
No, I know that. I'm putting it in like a theoretical standpoint. Like, you're as a Cincinnati fan, you're like, no, we're not losing back-to-back division games with a healthy Joe Burrow. But in Baltimore, if you look at their record, it's something like crazy. Like, it's like, I don't know, it's well above 500, which that's great for primetime games. But the Cincinnati Bengals have been going on the road in playoff games, multiple playoff games, making to the AFC Championship game, making to the Super Bowl in the past couple of years. Like, we know what the pressure is. The only thing that concerns me, like you said, Trey, he's probably going to play. Darth said he is the Terminator. He is the Terminator, Garth. But Sam Hubbard he's out. I think T. Higgins is out. We got Jamar with a banged up back, in which Jamar's going to push it. He's a competitor. He's going to play. He's still limited. We got Tyler Boyd, who I think I'd love for him to have a bounce back game, but in big games, in nothing. I don't want anybody hating on me. Don't get on here and say I'm a Tyler Boyd hater, because I've loved Tyler Boyd for years. In the Super Bowl, I tweeted about this. He dropped a big first down ball. It was like 3rd and whatever. He dropped it. This game, he dropped a 2nd and 9, maybe 2nd and 9.
He dropped a big 3rd down in this game. He dropped the tutty, and he dropped the tutty in the Chiefs game. Yeah, I mean, I definitely threw some hate his way on Sunday, deservedly so. Players need to hear it, right? Like, but at the same time, I can't do what he can do. I think he's going to have a bounce back game, and you saw all the players kind of like round around him, like. They have his support. He knows that they have his support, blah, blah, blah. It's just we got to see it. And this team being down 2 really good players on each side of the ball, man, like, they're going to have to bring it. And I know they will. Like, we've been here before. Like, it's just going to be one of those games where not a single analyst is going to pick us. The spread's going to be high. It's going to be like a Tennessee or a Chiefs playoff game where every single analyst picks the Ravens. That's
when we play the best.
It's true. It's true. And Joe knows that too, right? Like they all freaking know it, but it's going to be one of those games where nobody picks us. We're not favored to win. Most of the score predictions are going to be like 27-13, 27-10, 31-20. Like that's what you're going to get out of this game. I I don't think I don't think Cincinnati would lose this game in this situation, but again, like they got to step up because what we saw from the Texans, especially on defense, like they've got to make a change. They've got to get Nick Scott out of there. They've got to execute on the offensive line, and they've got to bring back that quick play calling that we saw out of the Niners because the Ravens are going to bring the same stuff that the Niners brought, the same style defense, the same fast rushing attack. They're going to get after him. They're going to have to bring that style of offense back. And on the flip side, man, Lamar Jackson, he's a great player. But if there's any silver lining to this, fans listening out there, Lamar has thrown as many picks this year as he does touchdown passes. So if we're going to talk crap about the Joe Burrow versus Lamar debate, like at least that's not Joe, right? He threw 2 picks last game, but at least he has more tutties than he has he has more touchdowns than he has interceptions right now. So
yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is. It's going to be a good game, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game, and I think the Bengals are hungry, man. Like, from all the reports in the locker room is that everything was somber. You know, everyone went in there and they're sitting down, they're thinking. And I know it might sound like I was throwing shade on TV. Tyler Boyd is one of the most sure-handed catchers in the league, and I'm just saying he's missed some balls in some big situations.
This is a turning point game. This is a turning point. Yes. This is a turning point for the season.
I think last week was a turning point game. That was another AFC.
Last week was a stinker that the Bengals give up. This week is a turning point game. They have to.
I think the Texans are a better team. I think the Texans are a playoff team. I don't think that's a stinker. A stinker to me is Arizona. If we lost to Arizona, that's a stinker game. Losing to a playoff caliber team, that's not it. Like I think we came out in. The problem is we get in these dry spells, man. Everyone's talked about them.
It's second through third quarter.
In just second to third, we get these weird dry spells. It's like let Joe cook, man. let him cook. Let's go. And I know we let Mixon run the ball. It was like 11 times he touched the ball, and that's not enough. But dude, there was a draw play, and I can remember watching it, and I was like, dude, he's about to pick up like at least 10. He's going to pick up a first down on this. And it was like maybe it wasn't a draw, but it was like a delayed. I think it was a delayed draw. And they hand Joe the ball. He's got at least 3 yards in front of him, and then he just boom gets hit. That's all he gets is 3 yards. It was like, man, what in the world, Joe? Like
he's dancing. He dances sometimes. There's games like the Niners game where he'll rush, he'll do really well, or the Bills game. And then there's other games where he decides to dance. And I think that goes right back to Ice's point, though, the offensive line play. Like some games they get a push, some games they just get pushed around. And they were pushed around versus Houston. It's not going to be any easier this week. It's just not with adjusted pressure rate, the Ravens have one of the best defensive cores in the entire NFL. They're not going to have any easier of a week, if not harder this week. Like they're going to have to get after it.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you. And my point is, I don't think the Bengals overlooked the Houston Texans. So people talk about, overlooking a team. I don't think we overlooked them. I just think
they didn't overlook them because it's too early in the season to overlook a team.
Yeah, I think Houston's better than we think, than a lot of people think. And it just, I don't know. The loss is the loss. It is what it is. But I think this week is a big game, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be a really tough game. If we lose this game, we end up 5-5. I still think we have a chance. I think we'll make a wild card. But
6-3 though, 6-3 at this point would be a way better schedule than 5-4. It's just it seems like one game.
It would be 5-5.
Right. But I'm saying like we're going. Yeah, but what I'm saying is going into this game being 6-3, is a hell of a lot better than 5-4. It's not just one game.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's a big when you break down the season, right? Like you get like 5 or 6 losses maybe as a playoff team in the NFL, and that's it. So like you've already burned up 4 of them. You really only got 2 more to burn, realistically.
yeah,
One of them being hopefully week 17.
yeah. And I remember coming in, we did our predictions, and a lot of us thought like, 13-ish wins was feasible, and now we're kind of to that like, let's get 10 wins. Let's get.
They
these
need
10
11
wins.
though. They need
Yeah,
11. They did 12 the Super Bowl year, or 12 last year, 11 the Super Bowl year. Like I don't think 10 gets it done. That's just my opinion.
yeah. Well, we'll find out tomorrow, man. I don't want to end this with a somber note. I think we got a good chance. I want to see tomorrow. What I want to see is Miles Murphy come out. I want to see that first round draft pick who I've put my foot in the ground with and said, like, this dude, for one, before we drafted him, I said, like, Miles Murphy is a guy I want the Bengals to target. And they did target him because they freaking drafted the guy. And I was hyped about it. A lot of us went tight end, in which, yeah, Sam Laporta would have been pretty nice, right? But Miles Murphy, we know going into next year, we need some sort of defensive line presence. Going into the draft, we need some sort of interior defensive line. We've got DJ Reader coming up. We need some fresh blood in there, especially interior. So let's see what happens. We got Zach Carter and Cam Sample. Well, I want to see these
still
guys.
hurt?
Osai should be playing. I don't
Okay,
think.
so we've got him. I've checked it. I didn't see if he was or not. I'll tell you right now though, man, they got to give Jordan Battle the playing time. They've got to give him the start over Scott. I mean, if it's not brutally obvious at this
I've
point,
been saying it, bro.
Dude, I said it before the season. Look back at our episodes.
We've all been saying it.
No. I was the first one. No, this is the one thing I'll put my foot in the ground and say I'll take credit for. I'm going to stake my claim right now because you guys all were talking about different players, and I was like, you know what? I think Jordan Battle is going to be really good. Why? Because he comes from a pedigree. He's a ball hawk, man. He came from Alabama. He plays that style of defense. Like, put him in. He's better than Nick Scott. Nick Scott's a good dude, but he's not producing. And this is a business, man. Like you've got to get the wins. That's how you make your money.
He's 88 out of 88 safeties. That's where he's ranked in PFF. He is good. He is dead last.
Good. That's total justification to put him on the bench.
Put Jordan Battle in. And I remember you talking about it. And I had a little bit of hope that the dude, a veteran guy, he'd come in and produce somewhat. Like, you have the confidence because we have Lou, right? A defensive back coordinator. Like,
you still got to have the athletes, though. Lou's not out there making plays.
Yeah. So he hasn't done what we hoped for. Let's get Jordan Battle in there. Let's see what happens. I agree with you. Predictions for the game. Do you want to do a prediction?
No, I'm not going to do a prediction this one. I'm gonna audible on this one. You can give a prediction. All I want to see, man, is everything we know this team can be. I want that to come to fruition in their first primetime road win since 2013. Please.
Yes. I want to win, but okay. If we don't win, right, I want to play a good game all the way around. I want the offense to look good. I want the offensive line to look good. I want the defense to look good. I want special teams to look good. If it's a hard-fought game and it's just a dogfight, which it's going to be a dogfight.
There's no moral victories, though. Like they did the same thing against the Ravens 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, whenever that was.
That game, yeah,
I don't think there's moral victories. Like I hear you, Dusty. Yeah,
I'm not saying there's a moral victory, but I think the Ravens are good, and I think we're banged up. We got a banged up receiving core. We got a banged up defensive line. Now,
it's players, man. 2 players don't make a team.
It's 4 players. It's 4 of our best players. Jamar's banged up.
He's fine.
teased out. Yoshi, he's going to be out for this game, which he scored a couple touchdowns for us in the red zone. We've got Trey banged up. Like, what's his snap count going to look like? And we're going against the best rushing team in the NFL.
His snap count is going to look at they're going to look at him and they're going to say, how's your pain tolerance? They're going to give him a nice old cortisone shot. He's going to go out there and ball out and then deal with the pain afterwards, because that's how Trey is. I agree with you, man. Like, we are banged up, but I saw what Jamar did last week. I think he's fine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I want the win, but I don't want a Browns Halloween game of last year. If we lose, I want it to be a dogfight. And I want us to win. Don't get me wrong. I 100% want us to win. And I would love for us to have a Joe Burrow 400-yard passing game in a 525 a couple years ago where he went crazy. Like, no, I'd love for that. I want that. But if it's a dogfight and we play competitive ball and the best team wins, I'll be okay with that. I don't want no last week against Houston where there was no reason we should have been in the game, but we was in the game. We should have won the game, but then we lost the game kind of thing. I agree
with you.
I want us to win. Like, don't get me wrong. I want us to win, and I think we can win. But if it comes down to a dogfight and just they win, then tip your cap to them, shake your hand. It is what it is. That's my.
I cannot take another game-ending field goal lost versus the Ravens. Like, I will not do that. I straight up will not do that. It happened last year, happened against the Texans last week. They won by a field goal last year, won by 3 points last time we played them. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. And honestly, man, like, to break the Bengals we're getting off in the left field. I know we got to get off here, but like, to break the stigma, we always talk about the stigma around Cincinnati. I think the continuation of breaking that stigma is to win a road playoff or road primetime game, right? Like, we did it in the playoffs. I get that, but a regular season primetime game, they haven't won since 13. Like, I think if you're going to break that Cincinnati stigma that we all know is still there, that bias against Cincinnati in the media, you've got to start doing things like that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I would 100% love that to happen. And I think we have a good shot, and I think we're hungry. The problem is key injuries right now. And I think we're going to feed Tyler Boyd, honestly. Like, if you have Tyler Boyd on fantasy, I think he's going to be fed the ball just to get him right. So that is what it is. But I think the Bengals have a really good chance to win, but I think it's a 50-50 chance. Here comes the birthday girl. Tomorrow's Heartbug's birthday. Look, say who day, baby. Who day. You gonna say it loud? Who day. There you go. All right. Go, mommy. Dad's gonna close this up. Okay.
Dusty, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Oh, that's all I got, man. Let's try to get a win. If we don't, let's not be too critical. This team has a tough schedule, one of the toughest schedules in the league, in a very tough division. I know me and you will support them through and through. We'll be irritated. We might post some stuff on Twitter, in which that's fair. Keep people accountable. That's what we're all about. But I think it's going to be a dogfight, man. And hopefully we come out with a win. If not, I'll support the boys and love them either way. But let's put up a good fight.
Yeah, man. Agreed. Retweet on what you just said for sure. So
right on.
Appreciate the time tonight, man. It was good again. We'll get another one going here soon. So
right on. All right, everybody that joined us and everyone's going to listen to this, we appreciate you. Get on Bengals Army on Twitter and YouTube. We appreciate it. We'll send out a who day and we'll end her right there. You got anything, Tony? You want a who day?
You
don't want to
man.
Who day,
let's close it out. Who day?
You got to hear a who day from old Tony.
Oh man, dude, you should have heard it. After that game last week, man, I had no voice. Everybody in the stadium could hear it, but it is what it is.
Right on. All right, we'll see you.
Bye.